Arizona 87, Oregon 83. Both Arizona and Oregon probably made this closer than it needed to be down the stretch of this game. Arizona had a sizable lead and decided to let Oregon back in it. Oregon, of course, stepped into that opening and nearly stole this game. Arizona made all the free throws they needed to down the stretch. So Dion, uh, Arizona's going back to the Sweet 16. A huge win for Tommy Lloyd's program, doing it over a former conference rival. Certainly a big deal. How are they able to do it?
Athleticism. This was a very impressive performance. They were, what was 19-4 was the biggest lead Oregon had?
Yeah, they got out to a start that was tremendous.
Tremendous. I want to say it was 19-4. Special performance by Arizona just to be leading at halftime, by the way. Like to be down 15 very early on in this game.
Yeah.
To have the lead at halftime was crazy. Caleb Love was special in this game. Kind of a classic Caleb Love performance. I saw a few people on Twitter talking about how come we're not talking about him in the NBA draft. And I do want to say this, we're not doing that again. We're not doing that again. We did
Yeah.
that a few years ago. We're not doing that again. Let's just enjoy, his last few college games, wherever he chooses to play next. He'll be good. It won't be the NBA, but he'll be good. Um, I think you got a lot from everybody on this team, to be honest, to kind of get you in this game. Carter Bryant is a freak of nature. He had a goaltending that might have been the most impressive goaltending I've ever seen in this game. Like every time he jumps, I assume something crazy is going to happen. I thought KJ Lewis was really good. Jaden Bradley was a little up and down in my opinion, just from some place perspective. But this team is deep. They're freakishly athletic. I mean, one of their like worst rotation players, in my opinion, is Trey Townsend. He's really
Yeah.
good,
He is.
really good.
He Townsend only played 10 minutes in this game, but that had more to do with Carter Bryant than anything Trey Townsend was doing. Caleb Love had the 29 points, also had 9 boards, 4 assists. Jaden Bradley played well getting to the rim. Once they got down 19-4, Arizona, they sped the game up and they went out and they ran. And the broadcast really hammered this home about when they've played recently under Tommy Lloyd, Arizona and Tommy Lloyd versus Oregon. Whenever they get to, I think the number was 70 points or more, Oregon, Arizona has won all those games. And when it's below 70, Oregon has won all those games. And so they were really hammering that home. And I mean, you saw Arizona wants to get out and run anyway. They're an offensively focused team. They made it a real point to push the pace in this game, and that's ultimately what flipped this. I also think you had 5 guys for Arizona who scored at least 12 points in this game. Oregon, and we talked about in the preview, they needed some other guys to step up. Didn't happen. Shellstead had 25, Biddle had 16, Bamba had 17. Nobody else had double figures. Like
Yeah.
it was a very condensed performance for Oregon, while Arizona it felt like you had a lot more guys that could beat you.
Yeah, it was because they do, to be fair. Like
Yes.
they genuinely have so many dudes that can beat you. It's crazy. They have as much talent, top end talent at least, as anybody they're gonna play in this tournament, Duke included, in my opinion. Um, and they just have a lot of dudes that can go get a bucket. It's really, really, really fun to watch. Caleb Love also was playing with a little chip on his shoulder. He wouldn't
Yes.
want more game against Duke. There's a little bit of that.
Yes.
There's a little bit of hate. I think when he saw the way Duke played this morning, you could tell there's a little bit more to him in this one. Like,
Yeah.
Oregon's not ruining this for me. I'm getting one more against them dudes. I'm either beating Duke in my final year, or they can be the ones that, shout out Calipari, put the nail in the coffin.
Yep. Yeah, this was good Caleb Love. We get good Caleb Love, bad Caleb Love. This was good Caleb Love, and it opened everything else up too. Jaden Bradley, the way he pushes the ball and some of the things he does offensively were great. Him and Lewis taking turns essentially on Shellstad defending him, I thought limited Oregon's offense and allowed Arizona to come back into this game. Shellstad still had a great game. Again, 25 points, 9 of 14 from the field. He was efficient. but there was a stretch where he was something of a non-factor. He wasn't playmaking, he wasn't shooting because those two had taken him out of the game
Yes.
for a little bit of time. I thought the defense of those two was spectacular, and we'll have a full preview for Arizona Duke later this week. But that's going to be key for that game too. Is the defense those guys play?
Yeah. Yeah, no, they're freaks defensively. They have so much to them that that allows them to be good. Like when they give up, like they gave up 83 points. When they give up that many points, that's because of pace. That's what like
Mhm.
I think people have to remember when you're going up against Arizona. Because if you're a fan of Duke, or if they were to hypothetically get past Duke, we'll have a full preview up. I'm not sure they get past Duke, but if they were to hypothetically get past Duke and they get the winner of Bama BYU, if you're a Bama BYU or Duke fan, just know like yes, you will score a lot of points against Arizona. It's not because they can't play defense. It's because they're going to run up and down the court and you're going to have a lot of opportunities to score. But they can guard.
Yeah, they can guard, and having a Waka in the middle helps them defensively too. 14 boards in this game. He really controlled things in the middle. Um, Oregon ended up winning the paint battle, but Arizona won the battle on the glass, large part because of what Owaka did. 12 points, 14 boards. Him and Visar, uh, I think, phenomenal. But Bryant's emergence, Carter Bryant's emergence as a like reliable stretch four guy, is almost like what they thought they were getting with Trey Townsend.
Hmm.
And so now you only have to play a Walker or Visar one on the court at the time, and having Bryant, who's like a jumbo three more than he's like a true four, lets you play the pace that Tommy Lloyd wants to play at effectively because you have four guys who can handle the ball on the court, four guys who are menaces in transition on the court. I think Carter Bryant, uh, well, you need good Caleb Love. But other than good Caleb Love, bad Caleb Love, I think Carter Bryant is the biggest key to unlocking the best Arizona team there is.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think they have a couple guys that stabilize this team. Kind of like the Jace Richardsons of the world. I don't know if they're as talented as Jace, but Awaka's one of them. I think Del Orso, am I saying his name
Del
correctly?
Orso, yeah.
I think he is a stabilizer too.
Mm.
He doesn't do anything crazy, but if Caleb Love shoots something nuts or KJ Lewis shoots something nuts, like Jaden Bradley shoots something nuts, like Deloso just calms everything down sometimes and just makes the right play. Same with Carter Bryant. He's not going to get enough credit for this resurgence. I feel like the emergence of Carter Bryant has been what's
Mm.
taken Arizona to the next level.
I think so too. I think so too. I'm glad you brought up Del Orso because he was the relief pitcher they called in to make all the free throws they needed to win the game, and he hit all of them. It came off cold, hit all of them. I thought that was superb. They seem to have like kind of found themselves, right? For
Yeah.
much of the season, they were trying, I think trying to force Trey Townsend into a role that he's not most comfortable with. I think they were trying to force Del Orso or hoping Del Orso would be something he was not. You were still trying to figure out the Love Bradley Lewis deal and how Carter Bryant fit into that. And then you had Awaka, Visar, Mokrivas, who were all good enough to play, as you saw, but putting two of them on the court at the same time took Arizona out of what Arizona typically does.
Right.
And so Tommy Lloyd has essentially played a juggling act for a majority of the season, trying to figure out what works. Some of it he was forced to do with Krivas' injury, but I think now you can see they've settled on a true identity and who they are, and that has allowed them to get down 15 and not bat an eye. It's a challenge and something you feel like, oh, they're gonna give this a real run, and not be like, oh, this is over. Because we saw this in other places in this NCAA tournament. We saw this in other places today. Like Ole
Mhm.
Miss goes up big on Iowa State, and it's like, oh, all right, well, Ole Miss is winning this game. That feeling never happened. Oregon went up big, and you're like, oh, holy Oregon. Let's see what Arizona does.
Right.
Right? The fact that that's the mindset that we have is because of what they've shown in the explosiveness that Arizona has in the mindset that they have.
And straight up, it's how quick they play too, because they
Mm.
can blitz you.
Yeah.
And that's why we feel the way you feel, like you said it. It's because like in a heartbeat they can score 10 points. Will you score six? Maybe. Maybe. But like if you miss, they are down that court so fast in a manner you don't really see in college basketball.
Mhm.
If Tommy Lloyd continues to play at this pace, and see, obviously he's at Arizona, he sees success, but if he continues to play at this play pace, making Sweet 16s, there's a lot of guys that have found success in the NBA that didn't have it in college. I look at Andrew Wiggins, who I thought was terrible in college. He would have been phenomenal if he played for this Arizona team.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of guys. Like I mean, I love BYU. I love AJ DeBance. Like he might be one of the guys we're talking about next year where it's like, hey, if he went to Arizona though, so I think this style of play is going to appeal to high school recruits. Obviously, he's not struggling to get talent to
Yeah.
Arizona. But I think it's only going to be magnified where we're going to be talking about like Tommy Lloyd as a guy that can kind of pick and choose who he wants.
Last thing on the Oregon side of things, because now we're looking ahead to next year. Shellstad should be back. Biddle with all the JUCO stuff, I believe has another year of eligibility. There are some pieces they have to replace, but that's the duo that is going to be your core. Is there any reason we should not expect Oregon to be back here next year? Because I look at those two as being preseason all Big Ten kind of picks.
Um, So I want to say there are some reasons why they wouldn't be back, but January, February, Dana. So I think they'll be right back in this spot. When I look at the four seeds, I mean A&M, Purdue, Maryland. Oregon matches up with all three of those teams better than they do Zona, if I'm being completely honest. And
Yeah.
there's a few teams that got great draws, like a BYU, and then there's a few teams that got terrible draws. Illinois and Oregon are at the top of that list for me. Honestly, the Big Ten as a whole got a really rough draw, if you ask me. But
Oh
um,
yeah, no. We're not doing this whole on Friday night. Look, the Big Ten's undefeated, 8-0, blah blah. And now 2 days later, well, Big Ten got a bad draw.
well, I was saying they got a bad draw before it started, but they were phenomenal in the first round though. But hey, shout out to SEC. It's 7 of the 16 Sweet 16 teams is crazy.
Yeah,
But I do think they got a rough draw. I think if you throw them in any other region, they're probably still playing.
I think so.
Maryland maybe not, but with that in mind, they'll be back.
Yeah, I think so too. Last word on Arizona. Feel better about them after this. Like Duke's a monster, and like that's gonna be where this starts. We're not gonna do a full preview. Typically, we'll discuss if the whoever wins a game feel better or worse about them moving forward. Arizona is all about can you beat Duke or not? Because you
Hmm.
can beat Duke, things open up certainly for you. But do you feel better or worse about Arizona's chances to beat Duke in this game? Because if you get down 19-4 to Duke, you're done.
I mean, I guess it. I guess
Not
I feel
not that
better.
you're gonna pick them by saying you feel
Yeah.
better about their chances, but you see it as a more realistic possibility.
I guess I definitely feel better. Do I think it happens? Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Yeah,
You're gonna be hard pressed to get me to say anybody's gonna beat Duke right now.
yeah. Um, this version of Carter Bryant plays in that game. Maybe matches up well against Coop. Carter Bryant can make him some money.
Carter Bryant and Neek made a lot of money this weekend.
They did. Yeah.
Neek probably at the college level and Carter at the NBA level, but a lot of money nonetheless.
A great win for Arizona. Again, back in the Sweet 16. There was a time this season this group was 4-5.
In
Good
the
job by Tommy Lloyd.
and they were 500 at some point in the Big 12, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. This was a great job by Tommy Lloyd getting them to this point.
It is March, and that means that March Madness is upon us. And if you are looking for a place to play, Underdog Fantasy has you covered. Sign up and deposit using code SLEEPERS, that's code SLEEPERS, to receive up to $1,000 in bonus credit plus a free pick. Head over to Underdog Fantasy today and use promo code SLEEPERS to take advantage of this amazing offer.